that is exactly what I'm seeing right now. It's, yeah, that might make me uncomfortable, but look at the good. If tomorrow I stopped caring about other people as intensely and strongly as I do, I wouldn't be alive. Abusers should not be validated despite their positions. Gaslighting intensely and manipulating passively. We don't need to have heroes, because oftentimes when people are worshipped, as it were, where they can literally do no wrong, it's okay to advocate for yourself. Oftentimes people aren't as bad and horrible as we would make them out to be. Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally, and today, well, you probably know what we're talking about based on the thumbnail and the title. There is a fundamental problem within the EXJW community, and as a certified fence sitter and someone that likes to sit back and really think and then overthink, and then once you're done overthinking, you overthink your overthinction, then you might actually form a watery opinion of something. That's pretty much the culmination of this. Now, we are not going to be talking about a single person, because enough has been said about it, and I don't think it's going to add anything to the discussion, and it's not really going to help anyone. But what can help someone is healing. And the very, very, very first thing you need to do whenever you're trying to make progress in your life is identifying the issues. This is an issue I found within myself recently. The recent events going on in the EXJW community exposed something that I didn't even know about myself. So we are going to talk about hero worship, binary thinking, and how we can grow up from our Watchtower indoctrination and transition into the next phase of our lives. ZZ is here, his curly tail is on my face. Don't forget to drop a like on this video. It does really help it get out. Okay, ZZ, this is obnoxious. It does help it get out to more people on YouTube. No finger guns, but we do have candles because we're trying to make it cozy. Even if we are doing what we think is best, and that's fine, and we should, but let's pull back, let's strip this back and think about it in a different way. And I feel that I have something valuable to add to this conversation, purely because I am a extremely empathetic person. I, to my own fault, just really care about people. And like you guys, you there on YouTube, I care way too much about other human beings, and this is gonna be brutal. The reason I care so much is, in a way, it keeps me alive, because for, years and years and years, I've been battling not being able to care about myself, and my motivation for staying alive like a living, breathing human being is wanting to help people. So if anyone calls into question my motives here, shut up. Like, literally, shut up. I don't care. But it literally fuels me and keeps me alive in the actual sense. If tomorrow I stopped caring about other people as intensely and strongly as I do, I wouldn't be alive. Wally would no longer be a living, breathing human being. And so this This is very important to me. Okay, let me get it together. Ugh. Hey, the last time we saw this box was the masturbation video. Ayo. Ugh. Okay. Let's do this. But we need to take into account the victim's perspective in these instances, because we cannot just, with good intentions, maybe, well, no, definitely with good intentions, say things like, I hope you and your family are doing good. I hope you guys are fine. I hope that things get better between you two. It's insulting to the victims of abusive behavior. And we need to be better. We absolutely need to be better. And I was so touched by an anonymous viewer that sent me a letter talking about their experience. And their experience is ultra similar to what is going on currently in the EXJW community. A wife left at home with 2 kids while their significant other is cheating on them, and then gaslighting intensely and manipulating passively when there are issues and problems. And again, this person's anonymous and not telling their whole story and anything, but I just wanted to read you the letter, and I do have their permission. They said, yes, I think it's important. Actually, this is awesome. Please, 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 please read this, because I think it would help victims realize that they have the strength to stand up against this abusive, narcissistic behavior. And whatever that entails, for everyone it's different. Wally the fence sitter, but everyone is different in how they're going to deal with the situations, and every situation is unique. So it's important that we are on the side of victims of narcissistic, abusive behavior. And by doing that, and by doing it not in a way that praises their abuser, and don't stop thinking that you can channel your support of a victim through their abuser. It seems blatantly obvious to me, but when I spent this morning reading, over 1,000 comments that were channeling, that were using the platform of an abusive person and congratulating and supporting the abusive, narcissistic person, and trying to use that as a way to say, I hope that you are okay, to the victim. It's mind-blowing to me. It literally made 0 sense to me. I'm speechless, and I'm not often speechless. But anyway, I want to read you guys this letter that one of the viewers of the channel sent me that was in a very similar situation. And it's going to be very emotional. So get your tissue boxes ready. And if you think I'm lying, literally get your tissue boxes ready, because it's heavy stuff. I'm far from one to self-accolade, but I am smart and quite witty. He was smarter. I was a stay-at-home mom who used to love cameras and acting, photography. He was well respected in his escalating career. He was doing better and better, yet he was treating me worse and worse. Nothing was ever his fault. He wasn't the nicest to me, but hey, he never hit me. No marriage is perfect, right? Think positive. You're not a quitter, I told myself. His behavior and lies led to multiple separations through the years, and he seemed to be trying, but only for a short time. And each time I stopped trusting him. I have 2 wonderful children. How would I ever make it on my own? It would kill them. I'm too sensitive. I'm fine. The situation is fine. Until it wasn't. I needed EMDR for PTSD related to finding the hidden camera in my closet because every time I changed clothes, I would see it. Every time I was naked and bent over to put lotion on my legs, I would see it because that's how I found it. Light reflecting off a small portion in the corner of a small black lens hidden in a shoe. Every time I see a camera anywhere, I think of it. Every time I showered, I would see the hidden camera and the visceral emotions I felt when I would find the hidden emails where he sent these non-consensual naked images of my genitals. I would think of Sorry for being such shit at reading this. But thank you, because the world needs to hear it. Because the reason this is so important is because I think a lot of us, and me included, are forgetting what it's like behind closed doors. And it just reminds me, if you think something is bad from what is publicly said, it's probably 2, 3, 5 times worse behind closed doors. Don't get it mixed up in your head. Things are worse than they appear from what, like, if an abuser and an abusive person comes forward and makes their apology or blah 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 that's been hiding for years and years and years and years, if they come forward and apologize and make public statements, what was happening behind closed doors, what was not said, is absolutely worse. And this is why I think it's essential that we talk about it. Anyway, sorry, I had to gather myself. I felt when I found the hidden emails where he sent these non-consensual naked images of my genitals, I would think of every puzzle piece leading up to finding the camera by accident. I would think of all the other gaslit instances and lies and trust-breaking moments over the 24 years of marriage that I didn't want to finally face because I knew what it would mean. I didn't want to do photography anymore. Sorry, I need to increase the size of this because I'm bad at reading and I'm dyslexic. I didn't want anything to do with a camera anymore. He can go on with his career, making tons of money, and no one is the wiser. He can go have future relationships because he isn't going to tell the truth about what he did. He doesn't carry the scars. His life can carry on, and the burden is mine. Sometimes you have to thank that rock bottom moment in your life because there's strength hidden there, waiting there. It forced me to stand the fuck up and face this bully on my own, stick up for myself and not cower. It was horrible and difficult, but it was right. It was truth, and the truth has no versions. I couldn't lie to myself anymore. If this happened to one of my children, best friend, family member, what would I say to them? Time Time has passed, but the tears still come. They will likely come for the rest of my life. I'm the victim here. I'm the one with the battle wounds. I'm the innocent. Yet I'm the one to pay the price for a crime I didn't commit. These are the unseen burdens we victims bear. Does the wrinkled piece of paper ever regain its fresh, pristine, original gleam? However, with the right team, the right village, the right support, the right mindset, we can recover. We will forever pay the dues we never wanted, nor deserve to pay, but we can be stronger for each other. We can advocate for each other. Victimizing someone is not okay. Abusers should not be validated despite their positions. Instead of looking up to the abuser, look up to the victims and hope they are doing well. Wish them the best recovery. Don't belittle them by hoping their relationship is going well. Fucking advocate for them and tell them it's okay for it not to be okay. It's okay to advocate for yourself when you're not treated well. We are all humans, and we are all humans, and we deserve the chance to be treated with love, respect, and kindness, unless proven otherwise. Take the face off the abuser. Strip back the facts. Put someone you love and adore in the victim's shoes and ask yourself, who are you really supporting here? And what message are you sending to other victims and all victims going forward? Just stick with it? You've got to make the marriage work, for better or for worse. No. No. Fuck no. I will not stand... I will not stand silent and be complacent. Silence is merely a pat on the back. If you're afraid of losing the content you like, whether it's movies, news, business, politics, you name it, then take a deeper look at yourself. Would you rather stand silently to get what you want? Or would you rather stand for what is right? There is a battle that victims are fighting. A battle of comfort and convenience versus the truth. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess we'll see you next time. Bye. I was hurt by recent events. I felt betrayed in a certain way, and the best way I can think to talk about it is I came out of an organization which always had the answers. No matter what happened, it was always right, and I could always turn to that organization, and it gave me comfort. It gave me a strong foundation for my entire life. I mean, not a strong foundation, but a foundation for my entire life. Then I transitioned into a new phase of it, the EXJW community, and let's not get it twisted. There is a face of the EXJW community. There just is, and if I don't think that's an unfair thing to say. And that face was very similar to my feelings of Watchtower when I woke up from my indoctrination. Things weren't as they seemed. Did governing body members come and lie to my face and spit on me? No, I don't know them. They don't know me. They don't care about me. And something very similar. But they, the governing body, Watchtower, that was it. And in the XJW community, there is a face. And was it just lying to people's faces and blah, 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 blah? Well, we don't need to go into those sorts of details. But what did happen was this sense of betrayal. This sense of there was a lot more going on underneath the surface than I knew. And it hurt me. It hurt me personally. And it all happened on my birthday, by the way. So it was January 31st. I was sitting there on my birthday, trying to have a good time, watching this live stream that was... We don't need to talk about it. But anyway, so let's move on to what I learned from this experience. And that is this sense of... I know I use the illustration all the time, but it's because I'm a nerd, and that's the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There's heroes, and there's villains. There's the good guys and the bad guys. And that narrative is so powerful. There's a reason why we, for thousands of years, have told and recorded and held on to stories and examples of heroes and villains. It's because it's a powerful narrative that we find enjoyable, we learn lessons from it, and all of that good stuff. But can we use that in our everyday lives, or should it just remain right where it belongs, and that is in the stories we read, in the movies we watch, in the music we listen to? Do we always need to say or make a judgment and say there's a good guy and a bad guy? And I feel like this thinking has sort of permeated the XJW community, because when everything went wrong, there was, there's a helicopter going by now. Maybe I'll close the window. I was going to have the window open. Because I wanted it to be cozier in here, but I guess we'll close the window today. Ugh. The thing I'm seeing so much of, and is being perpetuated by the people closest involved, is this idea that we need to make villains out of certain people, and we need to make heroes out of others. Like, sometimes you can just call a duck a duck. Sometimes you can just say, that's a really shit thing to do. And you don't need to go anywhere beyond that. It goes down into this age-old argument of separating the art from the artist. There's nothing inherently wrong, I suppose, of enjoying a piece of art, even if you wouldn't approve of every single choice that the artist made. Now, there is a dividing line because there is a level of support. So if I say, well, I like this artist, that doesn't mean I have to support their private lives. If I go and see, a beautiful painting that I really enjoy, and then I come to find out that the artist who made it was a, money embezzling. They were scamming their supporters. They were, taking, money, taking candy from a baby, and just an overall bad person. I can still enjoy my painting, but I can at the same time say, yeah, the person that made this is an absolute piece of human garbage. And those two things can exist in the same world. Now, where you get into a more gray area, and yes, I am the ultimate fence sitter, so if you were expecting definitive statements, then, well, here you are. But you get into a more gray area when it comes to the direct support. It's like, okay, well, a an abusive person needs enablers. I was talking to my friend from the EXJW Diaries channel, and he said it really well. He said, an abuser needs an enabler. If no one's enabling abuse, then it sort of starts to fade into the background. And you can enable it with your eyes, ears, your mouth, but more importantly, you can enable it with your funding. There's a difference between someone that's like, well, I know this person's a bad, dude, but I really, really like this painting. I keep looking at something that you guys can't see. So, you know what? We're going to go classic JW thoughts, and I'll show you what I'm looking at, because I keep pointing to a painting that I enjoy, and you guys are like, well, let's see the painting. Well, here we go. Big reveal. Woo! Hopefully you guys can kind of see that. But anyway, and there's my little plant. I made this little bracket just so I could have a plant, because it's nice. You were expecting a well-produced video, weren't you? Haha. But you got me instead. Okay, anyway, so now you guys can actually see when I'm pointing at this, but anyway, with all of that being said, there's a lot to be said in this conversation, and I'm no doubt going to get things wrong. So please, in the comments, if I'm saying something wrong, or if I'm missing something, or being just needlessly obtuse or idiotic, just please, please, please let me know. So one of the biggest issues with this hero worship, as I'm calling it, and how it relates to that transition period from being a Jehovah's Witness to an ex-Jehovah's Witness, is it's transferable. You can just transfer your ideology from Watchtower to anything else. And I think we just need to stop. Like, we don't need to have heroes, because oftentimes when people are worshipped, as it were, where they can literally do no wrong. And remember, that's a very important point, is Watchtower could do no wrong. When I presented to my family members, in the brief conversations that we had, evidence of them doing something wrong, do you know what they said? Well, it's not really that big of a deal, and look how much good comes out of Watchtower. Doesn't that sound familiar to you? Like, the comparison seems free in my mind. It's no matter what you do, if Watchtower is covering up their systematic and fundamental problems with child safeguarding, and they are covering that up, and it's brought to their attention. I remember my mom, she watched Jeffrey Jackson at the Australian Royal Commission, and her conclusion was, but look at the good that Watchtower does. That is exactly what I'm seeing right now. It's, yeah, that might make me uncomfortable, but look at the good. We need to stop, because just like the art and the artist, it's fine to say, yes, we can acknowledge the good, but that doesn't mean we ignore the bad. And let's not get it twisted. This is bad. It's blatant hypocrisy. I mean, full frontal nudity hypocrisy right in our faces. And yet people are just saying, yeah, but look at the good, and look, I've benefited so much. That's what my mother said when watching Jeffrey Jackson at the Australian Royal Commission. Those were the words out of her mouth, and those are the words I'm reading from people on Facebook and Twitter and Reddit and in YouTube comments. It's literally the same thing. So I'm scared, I'm nervous, I'm sad that I'm guilty, because you know what my first response was? It was very similar, and it wasn't until I did my old overthinking that I started to get passionate and more aware that, wow, I'm literally giving the same excuse to a new hero. And I think that's where this problem lies, and I think it's a lesson that we can all learn from, and we can start calling a duck a duck. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with calling a duck a duck. Like when my mom was looking at Jeffrey Jackson, she couldn't say, this guy is lying. This guy is clearly trying to mislead these people for the sole purpose of, whatever his agenda is. And it annoyed the hell out of me then. And then when I see something that's exactly the same in my new community, I ignored it. And so I'm the first person to, say, hey, I need to grow up. And I think my camera just caught on ZZ's tail, so we're going to just hit a few buttons, and then we're back on me, because I'm the star. Well, ZZ is the star of the show. Well, he's sitting in a box now, so whatever. Anyway, so the other thing I wanted to talk about was this binary thinking. And I know those two subjects kind of bleed over, but hopefully it'll make sense here in a second. But with this binary thinking and only being able to see someone as either the best person ever or an absolute demon, I don't think many people are actual heroes when you come right down to it. Like, everyone has some warts and some skeletons, or whatever you want to call it, but I think everyone has their battles that they're dealing with and they're fighting through. And I also think that oftentimes people aren't as bad and horrible as we would make them out to be. And we need to stop with the assumptions and letting our feelings get in the way of facts and evidence. So when we're presented with facts and evidence that are undeniable, right? You can't look at someone that says, I went to New Jersey last week, and say, well, I mean, did they really go to New Jersey last week? Well, here's pictures of me there. Here's people that are saying I was there and I met with them. Here is, whatever it might be. Here's my plane ticket, all of that stuff. When presented with facts and evidence, we need to be able to, make and establish our position based off of those things. But we don't need to vilify people, and we don't need to defend people. You can just sit there and say, wow, what a dick. You can sit there and look at Watchtower and the things they say. And, they don't, and this happens a lot even on my videos in the YouTube comments. People are saying that, well, all of them need to be thrown in prison for the rest of their lives, and the Watchtower needs to burn to the ground, and, all of this inflammatory, vituperous language that is ultimately not leading to a more progressive conversation. And that's the important point, is these conversations, when we are wrapped up in the ones and zeros, lead to just a wet fart as far as dialogue goes. The rhetorical quality just goes out the window when people's feelings get involved. And we need to separate our feelings and focus on the facts. So it doesn't matter how something makes you feel. It matters what's real. Didn't mean to rhyme that, but I did. So let's go eat some goldfish as a meal. And trust me, I will never steal. But this whole channel is meant to make you heal. And one of my favorite basketball players is Bradley Beal. I'm going to stop at some point. But I needed water, and I got these goldfish, so I thought I'd have a couple. eating on camera isn't that hot. It's so hot. So if we do want to have more progressive conversation and more nuanced dialogue, we need to just extract and remove our feelings on the subject and replace those with what we know, what we don't know. Now, that I've covered all of that, there's an exercise that I think is kind of important and is kind of helpful in a way. At least it was for me personally, so hopefully you guys can benefit from it too. And that is removing a name, a face, and a reputation from an action. And it very much helps, or helped me, to get my head out of my own ass and say, well, now I'm thinking now. Wow, I thought I was thinking before, but now I actually am. Take the name out of it and look at the actions. And then sit back and just ask, is this what I want to support? Because at the end of the day, I don't care. It neither picks my pocket nor breaks my leg. I literally I don't care like what someone else chooses to do, because I'm not your dad. I'm not your leader. I'm not anything. I'm literally nothing probably to you other than some guy that you click on his videos and I try and make you guys laugh and maybe sprinkle in a few little informative things that help deal with recovering from your indoctrination. So what I say ultimately probably doesn't matter. But I'll just speak for myself then. You are a little piece of mass made mostly of carbon on a insignificant planet in a vast universe that doesn't really care about you. I know it's really depressing. I actually find it not depressing every time I just think of how insignificant everything is and the fact that I get to exist in it and I get to, feel joy and feel elation and be able to bring happiness and joy to other people. I think it's just monumentally awesome. Literally awesome. But sorry if that's a little bit depressing. But at the end of the day, what are we going to leave behind? Like, what is our legacy? Our legacy is a compilation of the things that we did, the movements we supported, the stances we took. And ultimately, where do you, like, when you're sitting there in the final moments, like, I want to be able to close my eyes for the last time. And wow, I'm actually getting emotional. I want to be able to close my eyes for the last time and think, other people were positively affected by the things I said and did in my life. And if I can just get there, I'm cool. And I want to be able to say, I stood up for the person that was, in the back of the class that no one wanted as their lab partner. I want to be able to say I stood up for that, that husband and wife that were having a disagreement in the grocery store and he grabs his arm aggressively or her arm aggressively. And I'm not the type of person that will just be like, well, that was a really terrible thing to do. I'm the first person that will be directly in your face, confronting you and telling you why you're being a misogynistic piece of garbage. I mean, obviously, like, not everyone is in that position, right? Because it's like, okay, well, I don't want to endanger maybe my personal safety. But you guys get what I'm saying. Like, at the end of it all, when we finally close our eyes, it all boils down to what we supported, what we stood for, and what we did. And that's such an important question to ask ourselves. Seeing how we came from a cult where we were always told, who was the good guy and who was the bad guy. And when I see situations that are similar by someone telling me to my face without a whole lot of reasonable justification, there's some type of justification, but in my mind, it's not reasonable. But someone telling me to my face, this person is the bad guy. This person is Thanos. And I am Iron Man. Be suspicious. Be suspicious, because for God's sake, we came from that scenario before, where we had the governing body coming on camera and essentially doing that, saying, no, those apostates, those people that are criticizing us, and those people that are hurting our feelings with facts and reason and logic, don't listen to them, because they're being influenced by Satan, and they're mentally diseased people, and they're toxic. Why would we come out of that and then immediately accept that same behavior? Immediately accept that same behavior. And then there's all the stuff that after the fact, like, oh, okay, well, let me make my grand comeback by talking about how to fix the organization that we came out of, when I'm literally doing the exact same thing. I'm not casting a moral judgment, but I'm presenting a moral issue that each and every one of us needs to, maybe put down the wine and whiskey and take the chamomile tea and sit back, maybe even go for a walk and really think about it. Take the emotion out, take the hero out, take the binary thinking out, and say, do I approve? Do I approve? That's about it. Bye.